what a contrast between the series we just saw with Vortex, mass aggression dropping left and right, trying to crush the front, and Ret with ultra passive play. But you only need to attack once when you have the best army comp possible in the right position. Currently up 1-0 from the Netherlands and TeamLiquid. It is going to be Ret.
And down the bottom left side, I just like his name so much, so I just want to say it. It is Squirtle, who, if he wins a GSL, says he may change his name to Blastoise, which would just make me be a forever fan. And also that awkward moment when your opponent asks, is this map cross spawns only? And do you pretend like you have your chat turned off, or do you be the gentleman? Ret, of course, being the gentleman, letting him know that it is indeed cross spawns. And that's something that you may sit back and think, well, that's not that big of a deal, it doesn't matter. Players have lost many games and tournaments for getting confused what version of the map it is on, so that's actually very, very huge of Ret to acknowledge that and tell him that it is indeed cross spawns.
That would be such a great move. No, I'm at bottom right. It's actually only bottom spawns on this map. Getting every edge you can. With that sort of, ooh, that's actually kind of an interesting pylon placement. A lot of people enjoy walling off at the far front at the ramp area, but a little bit more the defensive-minded player. Squirtle going to keep everything tucked a little bit back. Yeah. He will have to do something a little bit gateway-focused. If you do an expand like this and go Stargate, you are just begging to have your front bust down.
And you got to be careful that you don't get kind of trapped in this building placement, because there's very little surface area on this map for your base, and that's something you're definitely going to have to keep in mind, especially as speedlings moving out everywhere. Got to make sure that that is nice and tight. We do have the spawning pool going down. Looks like the probe gunner once again tried to deny the expansion. Completely standard stuff here. This I would actually be surprised if this wasn't happening at this point, as the probe going to be moving around to try and delay it as much as you can. Ret says, all right, let's play this game. I'll go ahead and take an early third. But you know what, Day 9? This map, so easy to get a third regardless. He probably had planned to do it anyway.
Yep. You know, I honestly think that anything that doesn't take advantage of that third expansion is probably going to have a difficult time winning on this map. It's just so easy to defend. I think most notable is the air defense. If you just look at the mini-map, there's really only two places you could come in, for instance, to Squirtle, which would be the far top left or the far bottom right, those edges. All the rest can be covered by ground, so it's very, very easy to just secure everything up. But this also, just looking at the formation, makes it really hard to take a fourth base. Fourths are the huge difficulty on this map. I would anticipate that Ret would be going for a hive on 3 bases and trying to secure that expansion up in mid.
I really like this building placement from Squirtle. It is super, super safe. Down goes the third base right at the 4-minute mark. I think it was like at 4 minutes and 1 second here. This is what Ret absolutely loves to do. I have seen Ret, it's been a while, so he's definitely refined his play, but in the past he has found himself in a situation where he's just like, drone, 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 oh, I got attacked. I actually have 0 Zerglings or 0 units. Haven't seen that out of him in a long, long time, so I'm kind of curious on this map, is he going to be able to continue the perfect timings that we've seen as far as when to get units, when to attack, when to macro? Well, we're going to find out, as we do have the 3 probes in gas down. The main cyber core going down. And any other predictions here as these builds start to kind of show their true colors?
Well, we're seeing Squirtle still get this very, very early cybernetics core. A lot of players just don't do this anymore. They just go ahead and get their gateway at 4, and then their cybernetics core at 5, and then just do some sort of tech choice at 6. But we're seeing the cybernetics core finish at 4:15. Does he really want to get Stargate that early? No, he's going to chrono boost out a Stalker. Again, you kind of have to get some sort of gateway focus up early on, but I would expect Squirtle to do some sort of really standard gateway base to take a fast third. Yep, there's the Robo going down, so we could honestly very well see one of those classic timing pushes.
And a lot of people still ask me, number one, what's the point of the neutral depot there? That's to prevent any sort of early rushes that rely on blocking off your opponent's ramp. A lot of the Korean versions of these maps have that, and a lot of basically every tournament uses that version now. And then, following that, a lot of people ask, well, why do you kill off the depot, as most of the pros do that? You want to have full control of your space to be able to put buildings exactly where you want them. If there's a Zergling run by, maybe you have to drop a pylon there. There's a lot of reasons behind that, and so just killing that off is completely standard. Double gas on the way in the main base here for Ret, and that is at the 6.5-minute mark. What's the timing looking like here for Ret?
Well, Ret, again, is like going triple gas at 6:30 is a little common. Going double gas at 6 is very common, but going just double gas kind of late is a little unusual. I'm curious how Rhett is going to respond to this, because Rhett is ever aware of this early Immortal Gateway push. I mean, Rhett has lost to this more times in tournaments than I think any other Zerg I've watched. The way that Zergs have been tending to deal with it is to focus on Zergling speed early on, rather than getting a lot of roaches, and I think most importantly, ooh, there's the layer. Where's the Zergling speed? He'll desperately need that if he wants to defend against this push, but also getting the really early macro hatch, sometimes even before the Roach Warren.
Right now, we do see the Immortals being built right here. Is he going to follow it up with yet another Immortal? Yes, he is. Chronos it out. Pretty standard stuff here. Overlord's going to scout this. He's only going to spot the gateways, but this still does tell him a lot of different things about what the Protoss player is doing, and that's not going to be double robo. There's not going to be any Stargate play, anything like that. So it is going to finally get taken out there, and didn't see the robo quite yet, but he's got to know that something is amiss here. Trying to deny the gas, that would have actually been huge. That throws off the timing a lot. If you are able to do that, that would reduce the sentry count quite substantially. 7 drones on the way right now. Lairtech nearly done.
And there's the extra gateways getting added. Oh, Husky, this is going to be so scary. He's immediately throwing down 2 additional gateways. Looks like he wants to go for a 6th gate. That's a little bit unusual. He should be throwing on a 7th one shortly, but this is a brutal timing to deal with. But look at this. Rhett, by getting his layer so early, does have roach speed coming. The link speed is about halfway done. The push ordinarily starts to move out close to 10. It's all going to depend on whether or not that Warp Prism is the next thing queued up in that Robo Bay.
Interesting way of spreading creep. It's not from the main, not from the natural, but it is from the 3rd base.
Let's see, coming out of that, it's going to be an Observer, and the Warp Prism should be next. This is going to be an extremely tough defense for Rhett.
This is a completely standard play, as a lot of players have been doing this in tournaments, but the reason they're doing it so much is because it is freaking good. The creep spread needs to be top-notch. At least getting that one last creep tumor has got to be vital. And Rhett right here, he's not going to be able to make any drones. He needs to make units, and he has been macroing quite well, but needs to spend that 500 minerals.
He needs to get those Overlords out of the way, or they'll be totally vulnerable to the sentries and stalkers in the midst of the attack. He's building some spines. He does have that 4th macro hatch up, and it looks like a couple of these roaches get caught off guard. Even though it's just 2, every single roach counts. We see that the Zerglings are trying to sweep around to the backside to cut off reinforcements, but this is a Warp Prism-based play. It looks like the Protoss is going to be completely defended to this sort of counter swing, but Rhett has been stockpiling a lot of roaches up in the middle.
He will have to watch out for the Immortals, of course, though, because there's no way to deal with the force fields. He does run up, and the force field's a little bit late. That does mean the roaches are going to be able to attack. Does swing from behind the Zerglings, but they're intercepting Zealots, which means they got sliced away. Lots and lots of force fields go down. This is
the Overlords! Taking massive amounts of damage, and there's an Immortal on the left side, gets caught off guard, and he does not get it. The Warp Prism arrives to pick it up and safely retreat it. But now with this excellent micro, with this Warp Prism, it looks like ST.Squirtle is going to be able to keep at least 2 of those Immortals alive right now.
The units lost, heavily favoring Protoss here. This is how you have to use this build. Keep your sentries alive, and then just warp in more and more reinforcements. 2 Immortals are still in it. That Immortal that only had 7 HP now began regenerating his shields. Unfortunately for Red, he was completely out of position. And as you mentioned before, Day 9, he may be losing to this build once again. It's such a powerful build. He got out of position, and it is going to just crush on through the supplies now. I mean, really, right now, it looks like, yep, there's GG. He's in great shape.